Can Wonder Woman take the pressure of what is to come towards her? Oh yes, she can. And if this picture does not show you that, then I can guarantee you, you cannot see what I see. Wonder Woman began back in 1941. The vintage comics of Wonder Woman is something of a fantastic nature. Here we see Wonder Woman, who actually first appeared in Action Comics number 8 in 1941. This is the classical golden era Wonder Woman. As you can see, she had a little skirt there. Of course, that skirt soon shortened up, and we had versions of Wonder Woman where she was wearing something of an underwear. Very much so. For 1940s, this was just completely underdressed at the point in time. But it is what it is. Now, as time went along, we had Wonder Woman, and here's Steve Trevor holding her. As time went along, Wonder Woman actually got even shorter in terms of what she wore. As you can see here, this is the classical Wonder Woman. But first, I'm just showing you here Wonder Woman again from Action Comics number 8, where she featured in Action Comics. She was introduced in there in 1941. Now, what's very interesting is this is the version of Wonder Woman most people know about. And this version of Wonder Woman started to evolve as Wonder Woman was also seen in newspaper comic strips. And as she was featured, her costuming or her uniform started to change. And I just want to show you what I'm talking about. So, when she first came on the scene, she looked something like this. Alright, she had a skirt on like that. But then, as time went along, she started to change in her outfit and costuming, and it started to look something more like this. Well, actually it started with this, and then it went to this. Okay? And then from there, she went to this this appearance here. Okay? And then from there, she went to these appearances here, and then to this appearance here, and then finally to this appearance here, which was in the 90s. Okay, this was the 90s Wonder Woman. Then we had the New 52 Wonder Woman, which is this Wonder Woman here, which I will be showing you, don't worry. And then you notice the New 52 Wonder Woman, they actually started to move away from showing her skin, because the men weren't really showing all that much skin anymore either. And she was clothed a lot more, because in the 90s, as you know, the 90s woman was very much into feminism and realizing that she should be on par with the men. And so she started to dress more and more contemporary to what you would see a 90s woman dress as. And then, as you can see, she basically was much more contemporized. Now, the New 52 Wonder Woman actually was in the 2000s. I think it was 2000. New 52 came out in 2010, 2011, somewhere there. But this transformation actually happened over time. Okay? So, as I show you here, we have basically first the Linda Carter Wonder Woman, kind of evolved into the Linda Carter Wonder Woman, which we'll see somewhere here. Of course, Wonder Woman was always had a sex appeal, or sexy, because if you know anything about Aphrodites, you know, she's aphrodisiac and all that, sex appeal. So she was beautiful and she had an appeal. She was very attractive, okay? So she morphed from this version of Wonder Woman, and this is the earlier versions of Wonder Woman here. Again, showing you, I think this is, and she morphed from that, and her skirt and everything started to shorten up into a pants. So she looked more like this. And then she moved from that to the version that a lot of people are aware of and are more familiar with, which is the Linda Carter version, which looks something like this. And of course, she moved from that to a more voluptuous version and a much more muscular version. And she sort of increased to look something like this. So when you look at Kingdom Come, etc., you see this sort of version of Wonder Woman. Okay? And so you got different versions of that, but then it evolved into this version of Wonder Woman, which is this, the new 52 version of Wonder Woman, of which we just saw multiple versions of it. But in the comics, you know, we know about this version of Wonder Woman here. This is new 52. Okay. She even used guns. And the new 52 version of Wonder Woman was much more violent, a lot more, much more about the warrior than it was more about being cute or being strong, but still kind of feminine. It's a much more aggressive form of Wonder Woman. Now, the last version of Wonder Woman is actually based off of the BVS version of Wonder Woman, which is the rebirth version of Wonder Woman that came out last year. And the rebirth version of Wonder Woman is also seen in cartoons, but the rebirth version of Wonder Woman is currently Justice League Action, I think, has that version of Wonder Woman now as well. And whether you want to consider Gal Gadot's version as a rebirth version or the rebirth version as the version that Gal Gadot carries, that's the version, though, that you will see. It's very, very similar to Gal Gadot's version of Wonder Woman. Okay? So, having said that, that's the comics. And Wonder Woman, as I said before, can handle it. Then you have the TV series with Linda Carter. And Linda Carter basically epitomizes the Wonder Woman that we saw here. So this Wonder Woman here is basically the Linda Carter version of Wonder Woman right here. This and the Linda Carter version are more or less the same, as you can see. Oops. There you go. Right? You can see they're identical. Now, you also had the new 52 version of Wonder Woman, and this was in a television pilot. So on the small screen, we had Wonder Woman on the small screen. The Linda Carter version of Wonder Woman was a very successful television series that went from the 1970s to the 1980s. However, the TV pilot for Wonder Woman with the new 52 version of Wonder Woman in 2011 did not have that success at all. Adrienne Palicki, she was not, viewers didn't take to that particular version of Wonder Woman, and it was discontinued. Okay? Palicki had, as you can see, both the sort of Linda Carter-ish new 52 version of the costuming, as you can see there, the outfit. And then she had this sort of costuming of the outfit. And she also had the jacket, I think, somewhere around. But it was the new 52 version of Wonder Woman. Okay? There she is again. So, by the way, she was fit and she was strong. And you can always go and check out the piloted version of Wonder Woman. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. Okay? So here you see Palicki compared to Carter. Now, we also had some very interesting things. We have in animation, we had different variations of Wonder Woman and different races of Wonder Woman. We had sort of non-white version of Wonder Woman here in the classical sort of Linda Carter version of Wonder Woman. But we also had the new 52 version of Wonder Woman in Justice League War. This is the standard Wonder Woman again. Okay. So we had different versions of Wonder Woman for the comics. She is again. And different versions of Wonder Woman had different attributes. We had Super Friends. So we had the old version of the Linda Carter versions of Wonder Woman there. But we also had Wonder Woman with her own movie. And boy, was that violent. It was very interesting how violent that movie was. Here she is. This is Princess Diana. She was facing Ares in this case. But she's also been in, as I said before, Justice League War. So you have the new 52 version of her right here. Really interesting. Now, Wonder Woman after 75 years is going to be on the big screen for the first time. And the person who's going to be carrying that forward is Gal Gadot, directed by Patty Jenkins. This is huge. When you think about it, Superman he's appeared in 8 different movies. Batman has had 7 different movies he's appeared in. So those 2 members of the Trinity have had their fair share of big screen time. But Wonder Woman, only up to last year, 2016, she actually debuted in a movie. And what a response she got. She got an ovation response. She was one of the highlights of Batman v Superman. So, now that she's going to have her own feature movie, you can bet your belly button dollar that that's going to attract so many people. In fact, if you just think about it, in terms of cosplay, in terms of Comic-Con, in terms of comic book fans, the most prevalent character, not only the most universally well-known female character, but the most prevalent character that people go into costume with is Wonder Woman. Every little girl wants to be Wonder Woman at some point in time once they're exposed to her. And she's been in the media for 75 years. She just never had her own movie. And I guess it's just the right time for this movie to come out. The other thing that's very interesting is this. People say, well, Wonder Woman's success is hinged on critical acclaim, and Wonder Woman needs to save the DCEU. Listen, man, it's much bigger than that. But like I said before, Wonder Woman can handle it. She can handle it, okay? Estimations for Wonder Woman coming out in the box office. The estimations by Mashable, John Dickey's the one who's speaking about this. He says that basically their estimates are from very, very early projections of the opening weekend are between 65 million and 100 million. Now, for some people they get bummered by that, but you shouldn't be, because those are early projections. This is about 3 and something weeks out, okay, from the actual release of the movie. Projections actually get more accurate as you come closer and closer to the movie. So you shouldn't really be feeling anyhow about those projections. And besides, even if the worst case scenario is that it makes 65 million, that's not, opening weekend is one thing. The important thing is it carries. That the movie is good enough that people speak by word of mouth and more people go into the cinema and watch it. So it's not so much what it opens with. What's very important is what does it cumulatively amass week by week. If it starts to drop or if it raises in terms of grosses per weekend, then that tells you something. So for instance, Guardians of the Galaxy was projected to have a $60 million opening weekend. It had a $95 million opening weekend, but it grossed more than even Suicide Squad. It grossed more than Deadpool. No, I think it grossed less than Deadpool. But it grossed more than Suicide Squad. Okay? And that just tells you that opening weekend, so the Suicide Squad opened with a massive opening weekend, 135 million. Doesn't mean anything. That's what it opens with. Now, if it's a good movie, its second weekend drop or raise would either, the drop will either be small or the raise would be small, but that's what you want. So again, opening weekends are cool and all of that, but right now those projections are so preliminary it's not funny. But as you get closer and closer to the date when it's going to actually premiere, and you get critics ratings and all of these other things that come in, then that can help. Now, what I think is the deciding factor in the success of Wonder Woman is really women. The answer to that question is women. That's the success of this movie. It's not going to be the critical reception. Why? Even if the critics rave this movie, do you remember what happened to this movie, Ghostbusters, 2016? Critics said it was a good movie. Okay, 6.5 out of 10 was what they rated it on average. 227 out of 312 people liked it. Had it fresh at least. 73% on Rotten Tomatoes, right? Didn't mean anything because the audience didn't like it. 53% by the audience, and we all know it bombed at the box office. 144 million it cost, 288 million needed to make. It only made 229 million. Okay, so a favorable critical rating doesn't mean much. Just like how you can have also an unfavorable critical rating, where, you know, Suicide Squad was at 25%. By 25% of the critics liked it. 77 out of 306, 229 did not like it. But the audience liked it. And if the audience likes it, what happens? It's a box office success. 175 million is what it cost. 350 million is what they needed to get. They made 745 million. They made a profit off that movie, and it just really made a good profit off the movie. And just to prove my point, if you know anything about Suicide Squad, I'm just talking about people, okay? In terms of the People's Choice Award, it had 7 People's Choice Awards, and it won 1 of them, okay? That's just to tell you that the people liked it, okay? It was nominated for 7, okay? And then it got nominated for 3 Grammy Awards, okay? And Margot Robbie won the Critics' Choice Movie Awards Action Female Actor. It won multiple Teen Choice Awards. And it also won an Academy Award. You know? So, critical rating doesn't mean everything with movies. Okay? Ghostbusters didn't win any Academy Awards. It didn't get any awards whatsoever that were positive. My point being this. The thing that decides Wonder Woman, like I said before, are women. So if you're a woman and you feel personally invested in Wonder Woman, as you should, because let me tell you how this works. If Wonder Woman is a success, Captain Marvel is going to be a success. Because we had certain tries at woman hero movies. We had Catwoman, we had Elektra, and they failed. So Hollywood is saying 3 strikes and you're out. So if Wonder Woman doesn't succeed, 1, nobody's going to put any female directors to direct a movie of that magnitude ever again. This is the first female director for a high budget movie. 2, you have a female-led superhero movie with the greatest female superhero of all time. If this fails, you're not going to have no more female hero superhero movies. You're not going to have it. Marvel's going to squash Captain Marvel. They're going to squash it because they know people. It's going to fit that logic that female superhero movies or female hero movies or female-led movies, they just don't make money at the box office. That's what they're going to say. They're not going to talk about all the other variables. They're going to use that as an example. And the perfect example would be Wonder Woman. So it's very important that Patty Jenkins gets this right. It's very important that Gal Gadot is able to pull this off. And unfortunately for Gal and unfortunately for Patty Jenkins, they have to work twice as hard as any man and produce twice as much wows as any man in this movie to have it as a success. What can really determine the success of this movie is the support by women. Women are the key to the success to this movie. Like I said before, it's a lot of pressure to put on the shoulders of Wonder Woman, but she is called the Wonder. She is a Wonder Woman. And if I know anything about women, I know about my mom, I know about my aunts, my uncles, my nieces. They can handle a lot of things put on them. And that's why I have the confidence that Wonder Woman will be a success. Not only at the box office, but in people's hearts and minds. And it will be something memorable. It does not need the critics' endorsement for it. But if the critics endorse it, that'll be cool. But really, the endorsement will come from the people who watch the movie. And if it makes an indelible impact on the people who watch this movie's lives, and Warner Bros. Doesn't screw up Patty Jenkins' vision, and so many other variables that could go wrong, like advertising where they reveal too much. Once they don't do stupid things like that, this movie will be a pivotal mark in the fight that women have forward for equality. So I'm hoping that, you know, I'm hoping for this movie. I'm hoping for this movie to succeed, because the stakes are much bigger than just the DCEU here. This movie could determine the future of female-led movies in the cinemas. So I'm rooting for this movie to win, because I want to see. Marvel has never wanted us to see a Black Widow movie. That's something I would love to see. A Black Widow movie. I would love to see Spider-Woman. I would love to see Captain Marvel. I would love to see She-Ra. You know? I would love to see She-Hulk. You know? I could go on and on and on. I would like to see Hawkgirl. I would like to see... Because we don't have enough women superheroes on the big screen. Period. We don't have a lot of them. We have a lot of male superheroes we've seen on the big screen, but not a lot of female superheroes on the big screen. So this is big. This is big. This is huge. And I'm rooting for this movie to win. And I'm hoping that other people are rooting for this movie to win. Now, if it's not a good movie, well, then I'm going to tell you it's not a good movie. But if it is a good movie, man, do you know how good that will be for everybody? For everybody? So we got to hope and pray. But we'll see. Because I feel Wonder Woman can handle this. This is not just an action flick. I think she can handle it. We'll see. We'll see. Keep your fingers crossed. This is not about DC, and this is not about the MCU right now. This is bigger than that. You guys have a great one.